Anything that your kids do that's not moderated and without structure can be harmful. Gaming's no different. Scrolling Instagram, scrolling YouTube, it's the same type of thing. If you let kids do it, without restriction, it's not good for them. And gaming is exactly the same. Providing some framework around gaming and thinking about the positives, teamwork, strategizing, making really quick decisions on the fly, all of those skills, those 21st century skills that employers really look for, but it's in application.
Thanks for joining us once again on Your School Journey. We are speaking today with Dan Martinez from the Fuse Cup, an esports competition that runs in schools throughout Australia and around the world. Welcome to the program, Dan.
Hi, Mel. How are you?
So, Dan, you have been doing Fuse Cup for how long now?
6.5 years.
6.5 years, and it has grown tremendously in the first couple of years, all the way up to now. And I've been involved with it with the school students that we have here at Emmanuel, and I know at other schools that I've been at as well, same kind of deal. And it's been an excellent competition, and we'd love to unpack that for the parents today. So what I'd love to know is, how did you kind of get started in this? I know you're a school teacher and then you moved on into the Fuse Cup and you're so passionate about it that you've kept this going. What's your journey? What's the start of this story?
Yeah, so I was a very similar role to you in terms of innovation in schools and leadership with technology. And one of the things I noticed was that students were engaging more and more with gaming, but not necessarily in the safest or most of healthiest ways. At the same time, I've always been a gamer, and I've always seen gaming as a really social thing. So hearing, things in the media and things parents talking about as, gaming is a problem and it's not social. And I thought, well, there's probably some work that needs to be done around this to provide an opportunity for students to explore gaming, which they love, to explore the benefits, which I know we'll talk about, but to do it in a healthy and safe way, so that we can provide just another opportunity for kids in schools.
And so how did you take that step out of that role that you had in schools to just go, you know what, I want to do this full time?
Yeah, look, it was a scary jump to make, that's for sure. I was getting ready to pitch to some investors and just happened to talk to a couple of friends of mine, one of which was very interested and said, well, yeah, look, I'm interested. I'm happy to support this and let's work out a partnership model. So it gave me, a really good opportunity to build this and grow it. And yeah, it was very scary quitting my, safe, secure job to start. And the timing at the time, I thought it was a great time to start, but then COVID happened. So I actually started the Fuse Cup in 2020. And then all of a sudden, 3 months later in March, it's like you can't go into schools. So, that's the good thing about being a teacher is you're very flexible and you're adaptable. So I worked out a different way that we could deliver to schools online in still a safe, controlled environment to kind of ride out the COVID storm. And it's just grown from strength to strength. So the first 2 years were year on year, like doubling, which is great, but obviously not sustainable growing at that speed. And then the last 3 years, we're still growing at a pretty rapid rate.
So for those people who don't know about it, what exactly is the Fuse Cup? How's it work?
So the Fuse Cup is pretty much inter-school sports, but with video games. So it gives students the opportunity to represent their school playing video games, but we do it in a structured, safe way so that they're understanding, the rules of engagement in terms of sportsmanship. There's digital wellbeing workshops that we will talk about that help students understand that gaming can be very unhealthy. It can be very toxic, absolutely. But there are things we can do to minimize those risks and kind of teach kids about balance and get them to enjoy video gaming in a way that is still healthy and gives them opportunities to still explore other interests in their lives.
And what has prompted your choice of the games that you play with school students?
Well, I guess, being a teacher at heart and understanding that, yes, we know kids play certain types of games. Well, do they really fit the values of the school or the values of the business I'm trying to grow? So we tend to stay away from those first-person shooters, so things like Call of Duty and those more adult games. Students shouldn't be playing them at all unless they're age-appropriate, and they probably shouldn't be playing them in schools. So we choose family-friendly games that kids like, those classics like Mario Kart and Super Smash and Just Dance and Rocket League and a whole bunch of others, Minecraft. Because kids still like to play those games, and we range from year 5 all the way to year 12. So we kind of meet the needs of the students, but still making sure that it's in line with the values of the schools across Australia, with our own values as a brand.
And there's some amazing experiences that you get. And I had never realised, even when I went along, that, playing games like Rocket League, for instance, which for anyone who doesn't know is like car soccer, but it's almost like you're feeling like you're at the World Cup sometimes with these intense, balls bouncing off the side of the side of the stadium or something like that, and then getting in and everyone cheers. And, and I remember a student with Mario Kart as well that, he's almost at the finish line and then suddenly gets hit by all these shells and everyone's kind of getting excited and then, all of the feelings. So, what do you do to create an environment like that where kids are kind of feeling included, feeling like, this is amazing?
Yeah, it's really good you mentioned those. I mean, one of the things we talk to the students about is that gaming can be a really good way to build emotional resilience because, as you said, the highs and lows of video gaming, or the highs and lows of sport in general, dealing with winning and losing is really, really important. And when you play a video game, you win and lose a lot in a very short period of time. So those emotions are really heightened. And then you couple that with a live crowd of your friends cheering you on, it can be pretty intimidating. So just making sure that we're really upfront with the students around, you're going to win, you're going to lose, you might think you're doing a great job and something might happen that's out of your control. We need to manage that. Come and talk to us, come and talk to your teacher. Often we have people from the Kids Helpline there. They're one of our sponsors to help students regulate. But in the end of the day, we're here to have fun and we're here to learn some skills. So that emotional regulation is a really good positive that students can take away from live gaming. And parents might think that the gaming side of things is they might see kids at home playing by themselves and wishing they were doing other things or wishing they were more social. That's not what the Fuse Cup is. That's not what structured esports is in schools. In schools, it's very collaborative. As you said, you might have someone coaching them, you might have someone giving them tips, managing, their emotions is a really big part of the day.
So those are a couple of really good positives. Can you think of any other positives that or benefits that students get out of participating in esports at the school level?
It's just like any other sport in terms of positives. Teamwork's really, really important. So working together and planning and collaborating, strategizing, making really quick decisions on the fly, that critical thinking. It's kind of all of those skills, those 21st century skills that employers really look for, but it's in application. So they're some of the skills. And, being part of a community with diverse people. So there's a whole bunch of people that you may not have anything other than the fact that you love video games in common with them. So working together with people you don't normally work with is one of the great things that kind of comes out through video gaming, through esports.
Do you have any stories about maybe students that have gone through an esports program and you've seen them kind of develop and flourish over the years?
Yeah, absolutely. Countless. So one, when we first started, it was a boy who just started a new school in Brisbane, very socially awkward, didn't have many friends, and he was brand new to the school, but he loved gaming. So he put his hand up for it. And then, the school picked him to be a player. He was very quiet, though. He was really good at Mario Kart. And then over the years, I think that he was in year 7. By the time he was in year 12, he was still in the competition. And he was coaching the juniors. He was, very open, made lots of friends. And then actually emailed me, I think 3 months ago, saying, I'm in game design. I'm studying at a university. The Fuse Cup and esports gave me a really good platform to, build more confidence in myself and find something I'm really interested in. So we hear that all the time. And for this kid, I think it was when he was in year 9, he said to me, being selected for esports is the first time I've ever been chosen to represent my school in anything. So there's a real niche of students who don't feel like they belong. They don't get the opportunities to explore their interests because they may not be, traditionally sporty or super academic or, musically gifted, but they love gaming. So it provides a really good opportunity for students. And it's very inclusive.
Yeah, that's excellent. Yeah. Well, obviously, there's plenty of talk about the other side of things. These are some excellent positives for it. What do you do to kind of talk to people about the negative side of gaming? How do you speak to students? What do you say to parents in that particular area?
Yeah, look, we don't shy away from the fact that gaming can be harmful. In fact, we talk to our students about that in the workshops we run. We talk about the fact that it's a very competitive market, the gaming market, and the gaming developers often use a whole bunch of psychological tactics and tricks in the games to make them addictive and get kids playing for longer. You think about the two biggest ones, Roblox and Fortnite. We use them as case studies. Like Roblox made over $4 billion last year selling skins. I think Fortnite made about $6 billion. So these businesses leverage students' attention, kids' attentions, and get them playing longer. So we want kids to make informed decisions about how they spend their time and which games they play, and be aware of the tactics that are built into the games to get them playing longer. So like anything, educating students about gaming is really, really important for them to make better decisions about what they play and how they play.
What kind of dangers do you often warn parents about or point out that may be going a bit too far in gaming?
One of the things we talk to parents about is understanding that these games are built to be addictive. So having really honest and open conversations with your kids about the games that they play, the amount of time that they're playing, and setting some ground rules around what's acceptable and what's not. Also getting involved with the students with the games is really important because kids want to play with parents. That's been, it's no different. It's happened since the beginning of time. Kids want to play with their parents. Now they want to play games with their parents. So even if you're not interested in the game, just showing interest and being, inquisitive goes a long way with that student or that kid. So making sure the right settings are on their accounts, so parental controls, making sure they're not engaging with people who are older. Minimizing voice chat is really important, so making sure that students are only chatting with other students that they know in real life, and just making sure the games are age appropriate is kind of the main things that we talk to parents around.
And you've also engaged the eSafety Commissioner as well in your in your sessions that you run with the students. Can you tell us a little bit more about how that got started and how you managed to get a hold of the eSafety Commissioner to get that thing happening?
Yeah, I think when I first started the Fuse Cup, making sure we built something that helped students understand their digital well-being and their online safety was paramount. So some of the first partnerships I built was with the Kids Helpline and the eSafety Commissioner, and now recently Movember. So having really honest and open conversations with those organisations about what we're trying to do, which is educate young Australian kids who love gaming to do it safely and responsibly, has not been a difficult thing to do. They're very interested in how do we reach more kids, how do we align with a brand that's doing the work that we're interested in. So we often have workshops from all three of those organisations at our competitions, and we point students in the direction of the eSafety Commissioner or the Kids Helpline in terms of ways to get support and help for their friends or for themselves if they ever need it.
And what are some of those ways that you can do that? Like how do I get support if I'm a kid who's sitting through one of these sessions?
So, Kids Helpline is 24-hour, 7-day-a-week service. There's a phone number and there's a website where the kids can go and web chat with counsellors. So it's not just for harm minimisation or risk minimisation. It's just in terms of just getting support or anything. They can watch a bunch of videos on their website. The eSafety Commissioner is that kind of next level up. So that's, the end of the line type of thing. That's more where parents go to report things like if someone is being groomed or if someone's posted an inappropriate photo or shared an inappropriate photo and used that as an image-based abuse attack. So they're kind of like the police for the online world here in Australia.
Are there different kind of things that parents say to their kids or can say to their kids at different age levels that, is there a developmental kind of narrative, I guess, that you go through?
I guess the Classification Board of Australia provides frameworks around which games are appropriate for which kids. So, if you've got an 8-year-old who wants to play Grand Theft Auto, it's maybe not appropriate because it's rated R. So just like you would with movies, I would implore the same common sense with games. Also, check out the game before you allow your kids to play the game and make your own decisions about, does this fit in with my values? Is this something that I want my child to be playing?
What can you tell me about, just changing gears here, about career pathways? Because you did touch on it just before that one of the guys who had a really great experience with esports gone on to do a game design course at university. What other stories do you have about that kind of thing, or what pathways could a child get into if they get involved in esports?
So esports is like any other professional sporting organisation. So if you think of like the AFL or the NRL, there are lots of jobs surrounding the esports ecosystem. There's players, there's managers, there's coaches, there's commentators, there's interviews, there's media, legal, all that type of stuff exists inside the ecosystem of esports. A lot of major universities offer pathways and degrees. They've got esports teams that people can join. There are even scholarships. Here in Australia, the opportunities to actually work in esports are probably smaller than they are overseas, just because our industry is smaller. But esports is massive throughout Asia and Europe, and there are jobs, especially in the Middle East as well, who have the Esports World Cup and the Nations Cup as well.
And what kind of supporting structures do you have around the esports competition? Are there ways that other businesses kind of get involved to help support what you're doing?
Yeah, so we have a bunch of industry partners and sponsors who get involved to either talk to schools or talk to teachers, or we recently engaged a game developer that is looking for kids who want to do work experience in game design. So there's a bunch of different avenues and pathways that students can kind of explore their interest in gaming through the Fuse Cup.
And are there organisations like, say, Valor that do some training? What's involved with something like that? Like, if I'm a parent out there and it's like, I've heard about this esports training. What do they do? How do they make it work?
That's great. So just like any other sport, if you want to get better at the sport, you don't get better. Like, I love football, I love soccer. If I want to get better at soccer, I'm not going to go and play 15 games in a row of soccer. What I'm going to do is look for a coach who's going to help me with my footwork or my passing, my defense. And Valor kind of does the same thing. It's structured training that follows a traditional sporting model, but for games. So there are online videos that show kids skill development within the games. So then it means that the students and kids are playing the games in a more structured, organized way to actually improve, not just casually, not just socially, not competitively, but actually targeting particular areas of the game they want to improve to hopefully improve their overall game.
So what do you say to those people that say, well, esports isn't a real sport? We've had a really good conversation here and I think we've unpacked quite a lot, but what are your comments on that?
Is chess a real sport? I mean, it's the same type of thing. It's a strategic application of a sport, if you will. But esports is being considered as an Olympic sport by the IOC. They're looking at virtual sports, sim racing. I mean, there's examples of sim racers who have never driven a car who now drive for Le Mans. Like, there are applications of esports in real life that are transferable. It's different in that a traditional sport, there's no IP ownership. No one owns football, no one owns hockey, no one owns basketball. But in esports, the game developers own the particular game. So it is difficult to understand the differences. But in terms of the strategic application, the critical thinking, it's no different to chess in terms of, but there's a physical element too. You actually need to be very good and coordinated as well. So I don't know where I sit on that. There was a long time that I was like, yeah, it's absolutely a sport. And other times, it's not a sport. I don't really think it's an argument that I run that's worth kind of getting into. But if chess can be considered a sport, I guess esports can be as well.
Absolutely. I thought I'd throw that in there because it's usually the $1 million question that we often hear when I go to competitions. It's like, oh, is it really?
Well, it's interesting. Yeah, well, it's interesting you say the $1 million question too, because there's a lot of prize money in esports.
Exactly.
In fact, people can win more prize money winning an esports competition than they can for winning Wimbledon or even the PGA Masters. So if it and viewership as well, like global esports events, they rival the World Series and they rival the NBA playoffs in terms of viewership.
What gets you excited about the future in this space?
I've always thought of this. The reason I started the Fuse Cup was really about the kids, providing opportunities for kids. So I love seeing new kids come to the competition. They're all excited about it, and then they're like, "Oh, hang on, why are we talking about our well-being?" And I also like seeing the growth of kids who have been in the competition for a long time. So my focus is really on providing that environment for the kids to have a great time and learn about their well-being. So that's what I love doing. That's why I really enjoy what I do.
That's great. Have you got any parting words that you'd like to share with the parent community that will be listening to this podcast? Yeah,
look, I think anything that your kids do that's not moderated and without structure can be harmful. gaming's no different, you know. Scrolling Instagram, scrolling YouTube, it's the same type of thing. If you let kids do it, you know, without restriction, it's not good for them. And gaming is exactly the same. So, you know, providing some framework around gaming and thinking about the positives is a really good way to engage with kids. And so, you know, my advice to parents is get involved, like spend time with your kid. You will not be as good as your child at a particular game. That's okay. They actually like being better than you at the game. They like seeing you improve. You know, I'm terrible at Fortnite, but I play it with my kids and they see that I'm improving and they kind of feel proud. Like, oh, well, let's carry dad. Let's see if we can get a win. And it's just the way in which we engage. Like they open up when they're, you know, doing something that they love as well. So get involved, show some interest, and I think it'll make a massive difference to the relationship you have with your child.
Yeah, my kids are always saying to my wife, keep up, mum. So, you know, yeah, on Mario Kart. So, yeah. Mind you, I'm beating them sometimes, and then the next time around, I don't know what's going on. So, yeah, that's the nature of Mario Kart, though, right?
It sure is. Well, it's a term. You've been Mario Karted.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Dan, it's been wonderful to spend this time with you, and I think you've really unpacked for our audience what organisations like the Fuse Cup do in this space. So if you see the Fuse Cup, how can people find out more about the Fuse Cup if they're interested?
So we run, if you're here on the Gold Coast, we run our end-of-year Fuse Cup Festival where all the kids who win the competitions across Australia come to the Gold Coast to represent their schools at the state finals and national finals. So that's happening in November 13th and 14th at Southern Cross University. So if you're on the Gold Coast, come along and have a look at it. Bring your kid. There's lots of opportunities for free play and a really good opportunity to see what school-based esports is. We don't have parents don't sign up to our competitions, schools do. So if you're a school teacher and you're interested, check out our website, fusecup.com.au or thefusecup.com.au. Get in contact with me. Come along to one of our competitions and have a look for yourself.
And just so people know, around Australia and around the world, where can you list all of the places where you have competitions or regions?
Yeah, so we have live competitions throughout Australia. There's too many to list. We run live competitions in Auckland, but then we run a global Just Dance competition that's online. We've got schools in the US, schools in South Africa, schools in Nigeria, England, Uzbekistan, Kazakhstan, China, Hong Kong, a few others. But yeah, lots of schools.
Exciting.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, just getting everyone together and all dancing all over the
it's
world.
It's like games.
It's so good. Well, Dan, it's been so good to have you here today and appreciate your time.
No worries. Thanks, Mel. It's been great. Thank you.